I watched the documentary. It was hard hitting. There were a lot of things that, Yo-Yo Honey Singh's fans didn't know about him. What made you say yes to be on board with a project like this?
As a filmmaker, I always wanted to make a film on a rock star. And here I was getting it on a platter with everything that I wanted to ever document about a rock star, the highs, the lows, the controversies, all the difficulties that may come in the person's life, and yet what it means to be famous and what the idea of fame is and what does fame mean to someone. So it was like a perfect offer actually, and I said I'm going to do it.
How long was this entire
We
shoot?
shot the film over 1.5 years.
Wow.
And then it took some time to be edited, and then we had to acquire all the music rights and all the news archive rights, and all of that stuff is very time consuming.
There were a lot of controversies that he has openly spoken about also, which has never been told through any of his interviews or, him himself. The Shah Rukh Khan incident, even the fact that, when you asked him about the Nirbhaya case, were there apprehensions from your end? Because he kept saying that why are you connecting the two and why is that being, constantly attacked on me?
He's been so connected to that unfairly that I had to bring it up, right? I wanted to ask him what he felt, what he felt about it. And he just doesn't want to discuss it because it was actually a very wrong connection that was made, right? But we had to do our job and ask him because it was such a big deal and it was like a life altering. It was that whole gang rape was such a life altering thing for so many people.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things that shifts the consciousness of a nation, right? So it was a very monumental thing to ask him about that, and it was an unfair allegation and attachment that was made to him, but we still had to ask him. We had to do our job. Hi, I'm Mozez Singh, the director of Yo-Yo Honey Singh Famous, and you're watching me on Bollywood Hungama.
इनके नए डॉक्यूमेंट्री के साथ वी गॉट अ लिटिल मोर क्लोजर टू वन ऑफ आवर फेवरेट सुपरस्टार्स Yo-Yo Honey Singh famous and the man who has created it, the director behind this documentary and various other series like Human, Zuban, a film that you must have seen with Vicky Kaushal. Please welcome Mozez Singh. Hi Mozez.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much.
I want to start by saying what a beautiful house. Should we call it a house or a museum?
Oh God, please, it's just a home. It's just a home. It's just something that I've done up very lovingly, and I love doing interiors. I mean, I just love doing interiors so much. So it's just a lot of joy to do up a home. Yeah, and it's a very personal home.
Are
so
these books all read by you?
Most of them, yeah. I mean, I've read all of them. Some of them I may have left halfway because I was like, okay, what is this book? But I've read all of them to some point, and I've read most of them fully, yeah. I read a lot, as you can see.
Wonderful. I want to just start by saying that I watched the documentary. It was hard hitting. There were a lot of things that, Yo-Yo Honey Singh's fans didn't know about him, knew about him, but so beautifully put. तो सबसे पहला सवाल आपसे यही है that what made you say yes to be on board with a project like this?
So Netflix offered me the film around 3.5 years ago, and I was actually a bit taken aback by the offer because I've not done a doc. I hadn't done a doc till then, and I'd only done fiction. But Raghav Khanna from Netflix, who called me, he told me that he saw my movie Zuban and he loved the way that I treated music in the movie. And because this is on some level a film also about music, famous, he was like, we want a fiction director to helm it because we feel like they'll bring a different sensibility than a documentary filmmaker. Because you get used to a certain style of filming if you are just that. And I thought that was a really interesting way of thinking. And I just took it up as a big challenge because I hadn't done a doc, and I was like, okay, how do you do a doc? And I'm going to learn while I do it. And these guys are putting their faith in me, so I should just go for it. But also one very big reason was that as a filmmaker, I always wanted to make a film on a rock star. Like that's one genre that I really wanted to do. And here I was getting it on a platter with everything that I wanted to ever document about a rock star. The highs, the lows, the controversies, all the difficulties that may come in the person's life, and yet what it means to be famous and what the idea of fame is and what does fame mean to someone. So it was like a perfect offer actually, and I said I'm going to do it.
Have you been a Yo-Yo Honey Singh fan?
I mean, the thing is, who hasn't, right? We've all loved his music over the years, and we've all loved so many of his songs over the years. I mean, Blue Eyes is like one of my favorite all-time hits. Like, I love it. I love it. I listen to it so often. And so many other songs of his, Dope Shop and Angrezi Beat and Brown Rung, and even some of his newer songs are so amazing. So yeah, for sure. And the more I got to spend time with him, the more I became a fan of his.
Yeah.
Because I just realized how much resilience and how much fearlessness and how much determination he has, and it'll make anybody a fan.
Were there any apprehensions from him when, he was approached that there's a documentary made on the life of Yo-Yo Honey Singh?
No, the film was made because he gave his approval, and he was very keen to get it done. And even when I met him for the first time, we had never met, and we
Yeah.
met for the first time around 3-4 months before we started filming. And in 1 hour, we were just like buddies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, he and I are very different. We come from very different places, but there's something that just connects us, and we just get each other. And I just got him, and he just got me, and it just became like that. And he really respected the fact that I was coming in there as a filmmaker, and I had to tell the truth. I had to document the truth, and he was very kind of open with that. So
What were the similarities you found in both your way of living or, maybe character?
well, the first thing is we come from very close-knit families,
Yeah.
right? His family, even my own family, and there's a lot of love in our families. So that was one thing that I noticed right away. And he's the center of his family's universe. They love him. That was one. That was one thing. The second thing is we're both Sardars, so that was one more thing that binded us. But the thing that really binded us, I think, together, bound us to really together was, I think we both have this spirit where we're not going to give up and we're just going to do whatever it is that we need to do. And I really recognize that in him, and I think he recognized that in me, and that was something that really, really connected us. And yeah, we can both throw a party.
Now, when we watched the documentary, there were clips taken right from his childhood. Then from the time where there was designer song being made and all of that. तो ये काफी लंबा process रहा है. Can you take us through the journey of how challenging was it to keep stuff, remove stuff? Were there times where you wanted to put stuff but
Very difficult. I mean, all credit for this goes to my editor Deepa Bhatia, because she and her team sat through hours and hours and hundreds of hours of footage.
Yeah.
Because we keep shooting, right?
and how long was this entire
We
shoot?
shot the film over 1.5 years.
Wow.
And then it took some time to be edited, and then we had to acquire all the music rights and all the news archive rights, and all of that stuff is very time consuming. So that's why it became like almost like a 3-year project. But there was a lot of footage, and Deepa, who's the most incredible editor, and her team sat through hours and hours of it, and we used to constantly keep going through whatever were the best options, and then selecting them, and then seeing whether it's working for the narrative. It was a process.
Yeah.
It was a process to get it to this cut, right? Because there's so much material, and you can take the film any which way you want.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we actually just realized that what we really want to do is we want to tell a really soulful film. We want to make a really soulful film, and there's so much of soulfulness in what we shot, and there's so much of depth in what we shot, and we want to tell a very inspiring story. So we decided to go that way with the narrative. And
Moses, were there any clips that were taken out of the documentary that you'd like to share? Probably, a moment that you felt was very close, but nahi ho paya. It couldn't.
There were more than clips like that. Firstly, when Honey came and saw the documentary for the first time, he was like, "It's perfect. I was like, do you want any changes?" And he was like, "No, it's perfect." So that was amazing. But we had to take out lots of stuff which were more in the tone of like something which is really crazy fun that's happening, and something really funny and whatever, all of that stuff, because it wasn't kind of connecting to that level with the rest of the soulfulness of the film. And so we had to take that out because it was taking the film into a different direction.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll drop those scenes on social
Oh,
media
as
at some
BTS.
point. Yeah.
That's nice.
That's the plan, because they're really fun.
So, what among his life was a complete no? That he was sure that ये मुझे नहीं add करना है.
He pretty much gave us permission to add everything. I think he just wanted to make sure that whatever we put in this film is relevant to his life, and we also wanted to put everything that is relevant to his life, and not some controversy from the past, which people may be talking about still, but that has no relevancy. So we just wanted to put everything relevant, and he was also really bored on board with that idea. So it was just about what matters, because the thing is, in a rock star's life, and especially in his life, so much has been said and done,
Yeah.
right? And so much of it is just nonsense, and so much of it is just noise. So do we want to put that, or do we want to put the things that really, really matter? And we decided to go with the things that really, really matter.
But there were a lot of controversies that he has openly spoken about also, which has never been told through any of his interviews or him himself. The Shah Rukh Khan incident, even the fact that when you asked him about the Nirbhaya case, were there apprehensions from your end, because he kept saying that why are you connecting the two, and why is that being constantly attacked on me?
The thing is, obviously, that was not a very comfortable moment, right? But the thing is that he's been so connected to that unfairly
Yeah.
that I had to like bring it up, right? I wanted to ask him what he felt, what he felt about it. And he just doesn't want to discuss it because it was actually a very wrong connection that was made, right? But we had to do our job and ask him because it was such a big deal, and it was like a life altering. It was that whole gang rape was such a life altering thing for so many people.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things that shifts the consciousness of a nation, right? So it was a very monumental thing to ask him about that, and it was an unfair allegation and attachment that was made to him. But we still had to ask him. We had to do our job. I had to do my job.
Can you tell us, as somebody who's known Yo-Yo Honey Singh, been a fan as well, while through this journey of making his documentary, what were the things that you learned about him that came to you as a surprise?
Well, the first thing I saw about him was that I saw the love that this family has for each other, and how they're there for each other, and how rock solid they are how rock solid they are with each other. That was one thing which was really lovely, which I didn't know. And then the other thing that was really beautiful about Honey was that he's actually a very soft and vulnerable guy, right? Underneath all that, he's very caring, he's very loving, and he's very loyal to his friends, his family. He's got a lot of integrity as a person, and that you don't see in the music videos and all the larger than life thing and all that. But he's actually really, really a very deep thinker, and also that he's just so much fun. He's a really fun guy. I mean, we had some really fun times making this film, right? So it was a great, it was a lot of fun to be with him.
You being a commercial director, and this being like a hardcore documentary, was it challenging for you when you could see real people getting emotional, like the family getting so emotional? How difficult was it for you to say cut? Were there times where you all had to stop and start again?
Yeah, we had to do a lot of that. We had to do a lot of that. It used to get really heavy at some points when his mother was talking or when his sister was talking. And it was like, oh God, wow, this is like intense, when they were reliving all that they went through back in the day. And I constantly had to have empathy for these people, because it was not easy to just like sit there and like see them talk about everything. It was at times it was very, very difficult. It was
What
very
about Honey Singh, crying on camera? I mean, that was a very emotional moment.
Yeah.
How was it for you behind the camera to
It was
hear
very
everything?
tough. It was very tough. I mean, when he did that, I just kind of just stopped. I didn't know what to do at that point in time. I just stopped and I said, you know what? Let him just have the moment. Let him just. It's also in a way cathartic for him, right? Because he's publicly doing it. He knows he's doing it on camera, and in a way he's releasing itself, and he's letting it go.
Yeah.
So I thought, let him have the moment, and we'll just I just won't ask him anything. And then we just took a pause, a long pause for a few minutes, and then I said, "Are you cool? Do you want to talk more, or do you want to just chill right now?" And he's a rock star. He was like, "Let's go. Let's finish the work." So yeah.
So everything that we have known about him, upar se, like from his transformation journey, the break that he had to take, the controversy that happened with Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, let's get to this point. Most importantly, two superstars that were spoken about in the film. One being actually there. how exciting was it to shoot Salman Khan? Did he immediately agree to, give, be a part of this documentary?
He was amazing. He immediately said yes. Honey called him. They're friends, and he immediately said yes. The only thing is that he's so busy. He's got such a busy life that it took us some time to kind of lock that schedule where we could shoot with him. But even when we shot with him, I remember he could only give us an hour because he was so busy, and he was sitting there for like 2.5 hours. And in the end, it was just like we were filming everything, but I was just like chatting to him. It became a chat, and he was very kind, and he was hilarious, and he was great, and he was, unfortunately we can only use little snippets of his interview in the film because there's only that much time, but we have very lengthy chat with him, a very lengthy conversation with him, and he was awesome. He was
Can
awesome.
there be a possibility of a part 2 for the first time in a documentary?
I don't know. We haven't thought that far yet. We're just kind of right now just soaking in the love that the film is getting from everyone, and it's just been so amazing since the film came out, the way that people are reacting to it, and from people that I know to complete strangers. I mean, everybody's messaging all of us and sending us the most beautiful reactions. It's just been wow.
What about Shah Rukh Khan? Did you all approach him also to...
You know, the thing is, the Shah Rukh Khan story is an old story, right? It is an old controversy, and we wanted to be really disciplined about how we were shooting the film.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to do was put only in the film what is happening right now, in terms of what we want to shoot at this point in time, and everything else that has happened we wanted to use in terms of archives and all of that stuff. Because otherwise, it just doesn't end. Right, you can keep going back and wanting to get points of view with everyone from the day and this, that, and the other, but it just becomes really expansive. So you have to have a certain kind of discipline and a structure as to how you're shooting. And we just made a very conscious decision to shoot what is happening currently in his life. And he was doing the Salman Khan song, so it made sense to have that as part of the shoot.
There were shots taken of him being extremely anxious, where उनके पैर move हो रहे हैं, or he's not able to concentrate. Take us through shooting something like that, because you're actually shooting a person who's not acting. ये सब हो रहा है उनके साथ. So how was it for you as a director to be on the other side?
You know that the leg shaking thing, that tick in the leg or whatever, that was something that I saw from the very beginning, like the first time I met him, and I just knew that I had to capture it, and it was just something that happens. I think it's a reflex reaction that he has. So it was not difficult to shoot it at all, and he was really chilled about it. He knew the whole time what I was filming. Like, I was very open and transparent with him. I did not hide anything from him. I did not shy away from telling him what I wanted to film and where I wanted to take this film. And frankly speaking, halfway through the shoot, we even stopped discussing it. He just knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
He understood my psychology. He understood there are these things that I want in this story, and that I'm not like making something shallow, and I'm not making a puff piece, and that I really want to go for it. And he was just like, we stopped discussing it. He knew I was going to go for it. All he used to tell me was, sir, please, aapne bahut ajeeb question. Now I need a break. Now switch off the camera for 2 hours, because I am exhausted by your questions, and I'm exhausted by the kind of questions you ask. So I was like, okay, we'll take a 2-hour break, but then I'm restarting. And we would laugh. So it was, he understood what I wanted.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me.
What about food? How important was food during the shoots? Because he's also on a particular diet, and you've constantly been with him. How many hours in a day would you all spend time together?
I mean, it was all different on different days, but like a lot of the shoot was done at night, because Honey is a night person. He's a nocturnal person. A lot of these creative geniuses are just creative. They are creative at night. So we shot a lot of the film at night, and of course, at 3 a.m, food would be ordered from here, there, and everywhere, and we would all be eating at the most ungodly hours. And with Honey, everything is a feast, right? Everything is a feast. It's either all or nothing. That's the way he thinks. So, but he was very careful about his diet, and he was very careful about everything, because he was on a real mission to lose weight and to get fit. Actually, not even to lose weight, but to get fit. So he was particular.
Mozez, what was his reaction when the documentary came out and he saw it for the very first time?
He saw it for the first time, not when it came out. He saw it many months ago when we locked the edit. And once we locked the edit, he's the first person I called, and I said that you need to fly down to Bombay to see the film because I can't send it out. And so he made a trip to Bombay a day or two later, and we were set up the whole editing suite for him at Deepa's studio, her editing studio. And we set it up for him, and he said to me, he said to me, you have to watch the film with me. And I was like, oh my God, this is like so scary. So I was like, okay. So I sat down with him and we watched the film, and there were all these kind of triggering and provocative parts that come in the film. And of course, he knew what was coming because he knew everything, but like still to watch it neatly edited in a film and to watch it all there on screen and all that stuff was a very different feeling. And then the film finished, and I just looked at him and I said, so what did you think? And do you want any changes? That's the first thing I asked him, because I was like, does he want anything changed?
Yeah.
And he just said to me, he said, please get up. And I got up and he hugged me and he said, it's perfect. He didn't ask for a single change. He didn't ask for a change. I think that really came from the place that we were just very transparent with each other throughout the making of the film. And I was just like, you know what, I have to ask him these difficult things. But I should just tell him that this is what I want to do. And he knew what was coming. There were no like real surprises for him when he watched the film. And even now when the film is out, I mean, we are all very happy with the reactions to the film and the result of the film and how people from every demographic are reacting to it. And I mean, I get people like strangers who are messaging me all the time on my Instagram DMs or whatever it is, like non-stop, like about mental health and about all of that stuff. And I'm just really, really glad that the film is touching people in the right way, because it was never meant to be a sensationalistic film from that point of view. I never wanted to make a film like that. I wanted to make a very humane, very touching, very honest, and very inspirational film, because he is inspirational. And that's what's actually reached out.
I love the end of the documentary because he actually has proven that he's ready for everything. Failures and success, which is such an important thing to take, from this documentary, from his life, of course.
Hi, I'm Mozez Singh, the director of Yo-Yo Honey Singh Famous, and you're watching me on Bollywood Hungama.